Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday evening, once again on our YouTube channel. If you're new to the YouTube channel, please feel free to cruise through the semester 1, 2, 3 series of lectures that we have. That'll give you a nice little foundation about the authentic wisdom of Kabbalah. And if you're interested in carrying on, you can always visit Kabbalah.info where you can join the CABU Academy and join like-minded people from around the world. In the interim, this YouTube page is for B'nai Baruch members and people who've studied with us and are studying with us. So let's carry on with our topic as usual, which is going above reason. Okay, so going above reason, we're on excerpt number 8. This is from Rabash. We'll go through it as usual. And if you have any questions or queries, please feel free to shoot them through, and we'll try to answer them as best we can. Okay, so let's do it. Rabash, article number 24. What does it mean that one should bear a son and a daughter in the work? The work above reason should be unconditional surrender. That is, one should take upon himself the burden of the kingdom of heaven above reason. A person should say, I want to be a servant of the Creator, even though I have no idea about the work and I feel no flavor in the work. Nevertheless, I'm willing to work with all my might as though I have attainment and feeling and flavor in the work. And I'm willing to work unconditionally. At that time, a person can go forward, and then there is no place for him to fall from his state, since he takes upon himself to work even when he is placed right in the earth. Let's go over it one more time. The work above reason should be unconditional surrender. It means I shouldn't make excuses for myself. Okay, it just basically means that this is what I want to do, and I'm going for it, and I don't have any excuses. And even if I disagree with some of the things that pop up against the path, I should put them aside, shove them aside, and just keep moving forward. Right? Why is this important? Because in life, we always have an excuse to stop doing something. And if you want to be successful in anything and everything, you've got to stop making excuses and just do it. Okay? And that's just how it is. If you want to attain anything in life, you're not going to have an easy ride. Nobody has an easy ride being something they're good at in life. Okay, it's always ups and downs and ups and downs, and that's just how it is. So close your eyes, unconditionally surrender to the teaching. That is, one should take upon himself the burden of the kingdom of heaven above reason. It means on a good day or a bad day, I'm taking this on. Kind of like getting married, isn't it? Okay, on a good day, bad day, whether you're sick or healthy, you know, whether we have a good day, bad day, whatever, it doesn't really matter. We're going to see this through. And that's how his approach should be. A person should say, I want to be a servant of the Creator, even though I have no idea about the work and I feel no flavor in the work. All right, so this might sound a little tricky. I have no idea about what I'm going to attain, or the taste I'm going to get, or the reward I'm going to get. I have no idea about the benefits of working for the Creator, but I want to do it. Now, working for the Creator means, obviously, the Creator doesn't need a servant, since he can do anything and everything. So being a servant of the Creator means being a servant of his attributes. So currently, we are the servant of our desire to receive for ourselves. So what we want to be is the servant of the attribute of bestowal, all right, which comes from loving others. So in any case, we are a servant to our nature. So if we get the nature of the Creator, it's only logical that we're going to be servant of the Creator, Creator's attribute, all right? Otherwise, the Creator doesn't need any of us to get anything done. All right, so a person should say, I want to be a servant of the Creator, even though I have no idea about the work and I feel no flavor in the work. So how are we going to do this without actually seeing or having a hint of the reward? Well, that's why we have a dot in the heart, don't we? So we have something in us which is the beginning of some kind of an agreement on the path. And that's the important thing. So we have some kind of an inclination that we feel is, yeah, you know, this is something that resonates with with what I'm feeling. So the wisdom of Kabbalah, when we start studying the wisdom of Kabbalah, if we feel that it resonates with us, if we feel that it's, like we click with it somehow, initially at least, then that's a sign that we can move forward. But remember, he's saying we need to do this with unconditional surrender, because down the line, there will be moments where I disagree with the path. Right? That's just how it is. That's just how life is. A lot of people start a career or a job, right? They enter college, university, whatever, and they start a career. And what they imagined for themselves to be doesn't really, match the ending result, all right? So it's most often nowadays in the 21st century, we get a lot of people changing careers all the time, don't we? They got into a career and they start to change it, or they feel like they made the wrong decision, but they kind of can't get out of it now. Okay, they now cannot get out of it. And they're like kind of stuck in that, and they're like unhappy about the situation. In life as well, we're in the same deal. We think about a career because it brings in, let's say, good money, right? Let's say I want to be, I don't know, something that brings in good money. So we work to be that, and then we enter that job, and then we think, oh God, this job is crap. Okay. Yeah, but the money is good. Yeah, but the job's crap. So I'm working 8-10 hours a day doing something I really dislike. Okay, I'm not enthusiastic about. And then, yeah, I'm making money. And then over time, I'm just like, just not happy Jan, as they say. All right. And that's just how it is. In a lot of things in life, this is how it turns out. Sometimes you look at the menu and the picture on the menu of the food looks really good. And you say, oh, I want to order that. And then you order it with a great expectation. And then it's like, oh, it's not like how I expected it. Right? Because that's just how life is. So this is also how life is. In that case, we need to understand that there will be disappointments along the path. There'll be ups and downs. There'll be moments when I don't agree with the path and so on. So I have to overcome them. And if I don't overcome them, I can't be anything. Just like I can't be, I don't know, a scientist if I don't overcome a lot of the things that are preventing me from becoming one. Like I've got put a lot of hours in that. I've got to write a lot of articles, do a lot of research. It's hours and hours of, it's like real life dedication. Otherwise, you can't be a good scientist if you don't dedicate your whole life to it. And this is the same thing. We are actually trying to become scientists. We are becoming scientists because we're investigating our nature. So we are the scientists of our nature and of general nature. So, you got to expect this thing to take years. Imagine a social scientist, like let's say, I don't know, like Maslow or whatever, or Pavlov or whatever, right? So imagine those guys have spent years on sociology, right? Society, experimenting. There are experiments from the 1950s on society, which they have just, they're still evaluating the data. You know what I mean? That's like 70 years of research because the university is doing it. So obviously not all scientists are going to live through that, but think about it. They've started a social experiment in the 50s and it's still going on because they're still gathering data, right? And according to the data, they're having new, assumptions about society, assumptions about human nature and so on. And probably half of the scientists that started the whole thing, or even more, are probably dead by now. They never even saw the results. Okay. So if you think about it, it takes a bit of time. All right. And this is how things work. So nevertheless, I'm willing to work with all my might as though I have attainment and feeling and flavor in the work, and I'm willing to work unconditionally. Unconditionally means no matter what happens, I'm going for the goal. Okay. Ups and downs, good day, good month, bad year. Okay. It doesn't matter. Okay. We're just still going for it. Otherwise, you won't make it. It's the same thing with life. So I don't think there's anything unusual here. right? The only drama is we can't really put our finger on the goal. With our career, we can at least say, well, I'm at least making this much money, so it's good. Okay. With, I don't know, becoming an athlete, I can say, yeah, well, at least I've done this for myself. So at least we've got some kind of a depiction. But with spirituality, we've got none. So that's the main problem. Okay. But what can you do? Life isn't perfect. So we have to work on it unconditionally. And we have to work in a certain attitude, right? And that certain attitude needs to be as if I've attained it. Why is that? It's because I can't go to the Creator with a sad face all the time. And in spirituality, because we've got so much, so many dissents and disappointments, we're making so much effort and all we're getting is darkness in return. It's very tough for a person to stay on the path because the descents are always far greater than the ascents. It's like you get 99 slaps and then every now and then the Creator gives you a nice little, pat on the back, and then he'll give you a kick in the butt, push you forward a little bit more. Okay, and that's just how it is. But if I understand that the end goal is something really great, then I can have this depiction. If I can depict to myself how great the goal is, then I can work in that direction with joy and flavor. This is kind of like a person making a sale on credit. All right. So suppose I've made a sale. I don't know. Suppose I sold a property. Okay. And I've signed the contract and I've sold it for, I don't know, $10 million, let's say. And they said to me, you know what, Marty, we're going to pay you in 2 months. Okay. But we've signed the contract. It's a done deal. 2 months, you get your money in the bank, all good. Now, I've got the contract. It's all signed. So what do I feel? I feel like I already have the money, don't I? Okay. Why? Because it's a done deal. Okay. And I'm confident they're going to pay. They're a big company. They want the property. The lawyers have done the deal, and it's all good. So I already feel like I've got the money in my pocket. So I haven't got it yet, but I'm already out spending. Okay. I'm already going out, having the champagne, eating the good dinners and so on, as if I'm already a millionaire. Okay. Why? Because I feel like I've done the deal. So here as well, we've got to kind of feel like we already have the deal done, and it's just a matter of taking it that last mile. All right. And this is why a person needs to be in a good attitude, because you can't go to the Creator, which is love and bestowal, with a sour face. All right. I think that should make sense. At that time, a person can go forward, and then there's no place for him to fall from his state. So if I already feel like I've got the deal, why should I feel that way? Because the dot in the heart has now awakened. All right. So we've now found that direction in life we've been looking for. Right. All our life, we were looking for a meaning in life. And now all of a sudden we found it. We've got answers to our questions, and we understand where we're supposed to get to in life. So that's like all of a sudden a good feeling. This is why when you get to the wisdom of Kabbalah, a person has a good feeling. Nobody comes with a bad feeling once they get into it. So you find the wisdom of Kabbalah, you get into it a little bit, and then you find all these answers to your questions. So all of a sudden you feel fulfilled, right? You feel like you've got a good vibe from this because you got your questions answered. So the Creator is always, already giving you some kind of a flavor, a taste. Now we've got to carry it forward to realize it. Okay, so we understand there's a purpose to life. We understand through the study how we need to get there. So working to get there should be in joy, as if we've already made it. All right. And that's really important. So we've got to make sure we keep everybody happy. The whole group needs to make sure that we're giving each other a good mood, right? Everybody needs to give the friends good spirits. You know, like being good friends, always being good friends. Okay, always acting like you're a good friend, always behaving like you're a good friend. Your failure to do so later on in life with life's events will spin you out of the group. All right, you need to understand that. If you fail to be a good friend, and if you fail to apply that love of friends properly in the group as best you can, life will bring events that will spin you out of the group. All right, so I repeated that because I'm underlining that. Okay, this is very important. So you always need to worry about how you are treating the friends. Okay. Since he takes upon himself to work even when he's placed right in the earth. Right in the earth means he's like in a pit. So even if I'm in a really big descent, I really need to make sure that I'm keep pushing forward. The way to do that only is if I get some force from the group. Okay, because a person on his own is not capable of doing it. You can try if you want, you will fail. Okay. Rightio then. Any questions, you guys let me know. There are questions. That was early in the day. Pam's asking, where does depiction apply with faith above reason? How is depiction different from imagination? So one isn't fooled by the will to receive. Well, look, until we come to the truth, what we depict is never really the truth. I can only depict according to what I've learned, felt, and understood. And that will always depend at the time of your depicting. So you depict it today, we add on things, we learn new things, we feel new things. Then what you depict tomorrow, it will be Pam plus one depiction. All right. Why? Because you've passed over, or you know, like you've been through other states. But the truth is never going to be that true depiction of, you know, it will never be the exact truth of what truth is. Okay, because we're always depicting from our vessel, and until our vessel is in spirituality, the depiction is not going to be true. But in any case, depicting according to what I've learned, understood, and felt is already me building the next level of depiction. Okay, my next, not my next level of depiction, my next level of progress. Okay, and from that next level of progress, I'm moving to that next level of depiction. Okay, and as I move from one level to another level, then I'll have to make changes in that depiction, because it's like having a shopping list and a budget, right? The list and the budget, when you go to shopping, they never kind of match. Okay, it's just not going to match. All right, so there's always going to be this plus or minus. And when we enter spirituality, it's going to be like, oh my God, this is not how I imagined it at all. Okay, but that's fine. It's fine. Okay. So we got to do what we can. Okay. But like I said, it must be from what I've learned, what I've felt, and from the learning and the feeling, what I've understood. And it cannot be some philosophy or imaginary thing that I haven't built within the feeling and the understanding. All right, so be smart. Don't go into philosophical stuff or imagination. What do I feel now? According to what I feel, what do I understand about my feelings? And how should those feelings move forward? Like, how should I be moving forward? All right, so always from my current level, I'm trying to move forward to the next level according to those things. Ingrid's asking, is it necessary to prepare for failure while serving the Creator, or only see the goal? Always go for the goal. And whatever will be, will be. Because I can't plan for a descent, because I don't know when it's coming. Okay. But if I keep pushing for the outcome, then the ups and downs are expected. And if I'm expecting ups and downs, doesn't matter what it is, because I don't know when or how it's going to come to me. That I don't know, okay? But I understand there are ups and downs, and I understand the goal. So as long as I'm pushing forward with the understanding that there will be ups and downs, okay, it's okay. The important thing is how to handle a descent, okay? So don't worry about when it's going to come. Don't worry about what it's going to be, because we don't know and we can't predict those things. But to be ready is to strengthen myself in the group. So when I'm going through ups and downs, I've got a lifeline to hold on to. And that's the important thing, to have a lifeline to hold on to. Vince is asking, so the creator will send the events that spin us out of the group if we don't treat the friends correctly. Correct. If I don't approach the method correctly, if I don't treat the friends correctly, the person won't be able to justify his presence in the group. For example, sometimes I see a lot of friends complaining about other friends. It's a wrong attitude. Okay, if I'm complaining about the friends, it's not the correct attitude, because according to the perception of reality, one faults through his own eyes. So whenever I see something bad in a friend or a negative trait, I need to evaluate myself. Obviously, if a friend is causing harm to the group, we need to sit and discuss. That's also open to discussion, and we need to clarify those things, and that's fine. But overall, in general, when somebody's not causing, some harm to the group, when we're all studying, flowing, trying to connect and do the right thing, if we are not putting our backbone into it, not really applying the recommendations or the advice that we're getting from the Kabbalists or from our teachers, then our desire to receive will not be able to tolerate the situation, because we're not approaching it correctly. And that will spin us out. And a lot of people will get spun out simply because of that. They fail to direct themselves to the group with the right attitude. That will either bring a descent, which may take years to get out of, or it will spin a person out of the group, and it will actually cause them to also work incorrectly as well. I've seen people in the group, we even have some in the Turkish group, been with us for years and not getting anywhere because they just can't change their approach. Just can't do it. Okay? Not using the group correctly, not using the environment correctly, completely wrong attitude. What can you do? That's just how it is. All right, but those are all good questions. Pam, Ingrid, and Vince, thank you for that. Let's move on to item number 9. From Rabash, article number 6, what is above reason in the work? In the work, faith above reason means we must believe, although the mind does not see, that this is so, and it has several proofs that it is not as he wants to believe. This is called faith above reason, meaning he says that he believes as though he sees it within reason. This is called faith above reason in the work. In other words, it is a lot of work for a person to take this upon himself. It is against reason. This means that the body does not agree to this, yet he accepts it nonetheless, as though it were within reason. Such faith requires help from the Creator. All right, I think that last sentence really nailed it. So let's read that again. In the work, faith above reason means we must believe, although the mind does not see that this is so, and it has several proofs that it is not as he wants to believe. This is called faith above reason, meaning he says that he believes as though he sees it within reason. This is called faith above reason in the work. So when I have contradictions, and when I have feelings that I feel like this is wrong, this is not right, okay? And I see that it's not right according to my understanding, sometimes I just have to close my eyes and just move forward. This is called faith above reason, meaning that I'm struggling with what I believe is right. but my teacher is telling me something else. Does that make sense? It's like with our children. All right, he wants to have chocolate before dinner, and it's not going to happen. But he doesn't understand why that could be so, because he still believes he can have his chocolate and his dinner at the same time. Right? So he doesn't understand. So he has to go above reason. All right, why? Because I tell him, you're not going to have any chocolate at all if you don't shut up and sit down and finish the meal first. You see what I mean? So now he has to go above reason. Okay, because in his reason, he still should have the chocolate anyway before dinner. But he has to say, well, we got to go above reason with Dad because he can't argue. Now, with us, it's easier because he understands he can get the chocolate afterwards. With us, it's a problem because we don't know what we're going to get afterwards. All right, but what happens is this. As we grow up, we begin to make sense of the unreasonable things according to our logic turning into reasonable things. Right? Does that make sense? As we grow up, we begin to understand our dad, right? Or our mum. Why? Because afterwards we become a dad or a mum, right? Obviously, dads become dad, okay? And the ladies become mums. And when they become mums and dads, they begin to understand mum and dad. So what was above their reason before, a contradiction or something they didn't agree with, now turns into something they can agree with because they were doing the right thing at the time, but I didn't understand and I did not agree. All right, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense because this is exactly how the Creator is raising us. According to the things we go through, we see a lot of things we don't agree with. Afterwards, we begin to understand that this is just how it is, and that's how it's supposed to be. Okay, so going through that period requires a lot of work, and this is why he says at the end, a lot of work for a person to take this upon himself, and it is against reason. Can you imagine something that you're doing something where every day you have to go against your logic? It's a lot of work. Okay, so a real calorie burner. But that's just how it is. And what do we need? In order to get to above reason, we require help from the Creator. Okay, because it's really tough. So for us to go above reason means actually to go above my desire to receive for myself. Okay, that's the real above reason. This is why he says, well, if I'm not really in spirituality, and if I'm therefore not above my reason, therefore I need to work as if I am above my reason. All right, it's called as if. All right, and that's just how it is. So for a person to keep pushing in that way, he really does need support, a lot of support, and the Creator will have to help us out. There's no other way. Metahan is asking how to change our approach and use the environment correctly in order to advance in spirituality. You have to find ways, first of all, to help the friends. How can you bestow to the friends? All right, so this is important. So you got to find these little cracks where you can find how you can help the friend, how you can advance in spirituality together, and so on. Mahir is asking, why would we no longer need our minds as we move beyond reason? No, we do need our minds. Okay, we don't want you to be mindless. You're always gonna use your mind, all right? But you want to use your mind according to the situation you're in to go above your mind. Because if you get stuck in your mind, you're going to be in that same level. Do you understand what I mean? Let me explain. Let me explain. First of all, let's agree that you're going to use your mind. Yes? Okay, we're going to use our mind, all right? Because we have a brain, it needs to be used. I'm in a certain situation, let's say, and I'm evaluating the situation with my current mind. Okay? But what I'm thinking about the situation I'm in is contradicting to what my teacher or what the Kabbalists are saying. So I have a bit of a dilemma. All right. I have a dilemma about evaluating the situation and how I should approach the situation. According to your mind, you should approach it in a certain way, but your teacher is saying, no, don't approach it that way. You got to approach it this way. And this contradicts your mind. Okay. So now, because you used your mind, you can see the contradiction exactly because you used your mind. Now, against that contradiction, you put your mind aside and you take the mind of your teacher to do what he asked you to do. That way, you're taking the mind of the upper instead of your own mind, which you left on the side. Do you understand what I mean? It's like your kids taking advice from you, right? You tell your kids, listen, you got to work hard and study. And he says, no, I want to go play football. No, you don't play football. You first finish the work and then you can do that, right? So the kid now has to take on your mind and do what you told him to do. If he does what you told him to do, he passes examination with a good grade, right? And then he's thankful that he took your advice. Okay. But before, he was in his own desire to receive pleasure for himself, and he wanted to play football. And he didn't want to play, he didn't want to study. So he left his mind and took your mind. Do you understand what I mean? That's what I mean. So we're always using the mind. But I understand if I want to go to the next level, I have to use the mind of somebody else who is at that level. Okay, that's why I have to let my mind go and take the mind of the upper one so he can raise me up. All right, makes sense? Tuna is asking, how does one build consciousness beyond reason that can always bring conditions to consciousness? Well, for that, you need to read that last sentence, don't you? The person needs the help of the Creator. But he won't get to ask for help if he's not constantly in the work, because you have to always see that you're in the contradictions that you cannot solve. Isaka is asking, and how can we recognize that we have the wrong approach? Oh, that's a nice question. One should get feedback from the group, and one should always evaluate oneself according to what one feels, thinks, and what one is learning. For example, do all of you have a journal? Right? Everybody needs a journal. Everyone needs one of these. All right. So every day or once in a few days, right, you should kind of like sharpen up what you need to do or what you can do for the friends. All right. So write down what you're going to do for the friends in order to help them, right? In order to bestow to them so they can move forward and get better in spirituality. Now, then you got to do the action. Okay. So first you thought about it. All right. But before you think about it, you got to have the intention, right? So why do I want to bestow upon the friends? That's the first thing. Second of all is now let's think about what I can do in order to bestow to the friends so I can bestow to the Creator. Third thing, I've got to put it into action. Fourth thing, I've got to evaluate the outcome of the action. Okay. That evaluation should then bring me to planning the next action, which again starts with the intention, the thought, the action, and the feedback, right? If I'm constantly doing that and working in that way, the feedback should tell me where I'm right and wrong, because this is how I'm kind of giving shape to myself, all right? And how's that going to sharpen up every time you go through that progress? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to sharpen up every day as I study. okay? Because this is why we've got a daily lesson. So every day there's me changing, and I'm changing according to the new things we've learned. And now with those new things, there's a new me, and that new me can now make a new calculation. Does that make sense? So you guys have to like make a process out of your day-to-day routine. Okay. So Pam's asking, is the push for dissemination to get us to practice working in faith above reason? We get used to working without reward, without feeling like it's, etc. Well, dissemination is good, not just for going above reason, but it keeps a person on track. Okay, because then when you're disseminating, right, you are working with materials. We've got translators, we've got editors, we've got people doing something for the group. Okay, so dissemination is like us working on the goal. Dissemination is something where every time I do something, I need to put an intention. I need to put an action, a thought, a process. Now, I'm going through this process every time I'm disseminating. So that's like really important for us to do. Dissemination like keeps a person on track. Okay, so that's also one of those important things. It helps us to go above reason, that's for sure. And also you can start to do things like you said here without feeling like there's a reward. So yeah, those are all good, Pam. Rosie is asking, after a member of the group has spun out, what are the best forward actions the remaining members can do to move forward after such a sad split? Well, if you've spoken to the friend like 2 times and, you know, she doesn't want to come back at all, she says, nah, look, I'm out of the game. I don't want to come back. It's over. There's no point in insisting because that creates unnecessary pressure on a person, which we don't want. So just talking to them nicely twice over a tea or coffee is good to kind of like figure out if you can help the friend, where you can help the friend, where you can support them. Is there a specific reason which, you know, you can all come together and help her overcome? So it's good to discuss and figure out the cause of the thing. But if she's persistent, then the group has to, you know, come together and think about it. You know, why did we lose a friend? Could we have done something in a, you know, could we have done something better? Did we do something wrong? So that kind of stuff needs evaluation all the time. Where do we need to complete ourselves? Where can we add so we can cover these cracks in the 10? These kind of things need to be discussed in the group. And if you don't talk about them, you know, you won't solve problems that are like blatantly obvious, but you're not talking about them, so nobody knows about them. Okay. So having a group discussion on how to be a better 10, how to be a better group, how to better support and help each other is an ongoing process that the 10 always has to do. And how can you move forward? Well, at the end of the day, if you've done your best, you've got to say there's none else besides him, and we've got to move forward. Okay. Because in life also, if you think about it, in life, as most of us have in the group, lost loved ones. Okay. But what do we say? Well, you know, life carries on and we got to move forward. Okay. That's just how it is. Same with anything in life. So obviously we'd like to help and bring the friend back and so on, but sometimes it's inevitable. Ingrid's asking, why does understanding take such a long time, even if one is in the right environment? Well, you know, we can be in the best family on the planet, but, you know, it's still going to take years for us to grow up and understand life. You know, I can be in the best home, best parents know how to educate me exactly and so on, but it's still going to take me years until I understand what life's all about. It's just how life is. It takes time. So we have to learn from life that it takes time. And if you come to grips with that learning life, understanding life takes years as kids as we grow up, then you can come to the term, the facts of life, that spirituality is going to take time as well. It's just how it is, all right? But understanding that is good. Right, yeah. Let's read one more short little thing and call it a night. This is number 10. There is the matter of above reason. This is regarded as wanting to walk with his eyes shut, meaning that although reason and the senses do not understand what our sages tell us, they assume upon them faith in the sages and say that we must take upon ourselves faith in the sages. As it is written, and they believe in the Lord and his servant Moses. Without faith, nothing can be achieved in spirituality. Oh, this is nice. There's the matter of above reason. So I'm reading that again. There's the matter of above reason. This is regarding as wanting to walk with his eyes shut, meaning that although reason and the senses do not understand what our sages tell us, they assume upon them faith in the sages and say that we must take upon ourselves faith in the sages, as it is written, and they believed in the Lord and his servant Moses. Without faith, nothing can be achieved in spirituality. All right, so that's something we've got to take upon ourselves. Now, this is not something abnormal, as I'm always giving examples from, from our day-to-day lives as well, right? We take examples from, from anybody actually. Even look, if I was to enter an apprenticeship and I wanted to be an artist, like a really good woodworker or something, I have to take all the recommendations of the guy who's teaching me, right? Because he's the craftsman, I'm the apprentice, and he's teaching me everything. So I'm just saying, yeah, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. This is how I'm going to do it. This is how I'm going to do it, and so on. I have faith that I'm going to be a good craftsman because I'm his apprentice. And this is how things need to be. We have to kind of believe that that's what the outcome is, despite the fact that I don't agree, or I may not agree, and so on. All right. So going faith above reason, this means that I am really holding on to my teacher and just letting him guide me through the process. And that's just how it is. Without that, like he says, without a teacher, without faith in a teacher, it's not possible, because you won't be able to, if you don't have faith in the teacher, you won't be able to take the recommendation and apply it. Only when you apply what they say, you begin to understand what you're going through. So if you don't do what the teaching says, you've got no feedback, you've got no feeling, sensation of cause and consequence, the act and the outcome. This is why, working in the friends, helping the friends, doing something for the friends, it really gives you feedback. You begin to understand what it means to do something for somebody else. And sometimes gives you a lot of dramas as well. It's not easy. Dealing with stuff all the time, ups and downs, it's not easy. But the more you go through, you understand that this is a process of maturing. This is how you start to cook. It's like we're on a stove inside, we're like a casserole. And we're all cooking inside. And that's just how it is. And this is how the Creator is raising us. So it's an important part of the job. All right, I think we've answered all the questions, if I'm not mistaken. We're all good. All right, we're going to love you and leave you as usual. And we're going to hopefully meet next Tuesday. All the best. Have a great week already.